Howdy y'all, it is Cody from the Keepers of Nerddom. What's up? So it is time for a battle report. This weekend got to play a 2,000 point battle of NECRONS versus Imperial Knights, and one Imperial agent showed up to the battle. Try to walk you all through what happened. I'll try to name Imperial Knights, but I'll be honest, that's hard to do because the armigers are basically all the same but with different weapons, and the Imperial Knights are all the same but with different weapons. I know there was a Knight Castellan, and I know there was two range armigers, and then a armiger with a range, weapon, and then the big chainsword saw. And yeah, it was cool. So opponent had, I think, 3 armigers and 3 Imperial Knights. 2 of those Imperial Knights were big ranged boys, massive weaponry, massive firepower, and then one had ranged weapons and then had his storm gauntlet or something. Crazy attacks apparently, and he never got to use it because he would just kill everything before he got to it, which was rather entertaining. But yeah, let me see. So turn 1, he got to go first, and that was pretty scary. He knocked out, my build was a full thing of 6 Canoptic Wraiths, 2 Locust Heavy Destroyers in a squad, a Locust Destroyer, Imhotep the Stormlord that was hiding in the back the entire game until he got killed, and then a Transcendent Catan with the Sempiternal Weave, so that way he has a 4-up Feel No Pain as well on top. And I can now confirm, yes, that is a must take on him to make him the most durable, silly thing you've ever seen in your life. And I had a full Necrons Warrior squad with Orican the Diviner and an Overlord. The Overlord was wielding his Resurrection Orb as always, and they had the Hyper Material Ablator, which gave them stealth, and then from 12 inches out, benefit of cover. So that was good. And then a Lich Guard, and 2, Crypto Thralls in there as well. Just give that Feel No Pain as well, on top of the 4-up invuln. Durability goes through the roof. And then there's so much durability. It's crazy. I'm trying to think what else I had. Lich Guard crew, 10 full with an Overlord, pack and a Veil of Darkness, and a Chronomancer. Yeah, Chronomancer. So that way they had -1 to hit, -1 to wound. Crazy hard to take down. Plus their 4-up invuln, and then 2 Crypto Thralls in there as well for a 4-up Feel No Pain that sometimes I would just take on them, so that way they could sometimes get a save and then get their 4-up Feel No Pain. Kinda silly. Let's see what else. Last thing I think I had was a Monolith that I put in strategic reserve so that way it could spawn in on them. My opponent also had the little sniper guy, the Imperial Agent sniper. Scary little bugger, really is. But yeah, so turn 1, opponent gets to go first, and it is devastating to my Canoptic Wraiths. They get knocked out, but they held in a lot longer than they should have. Their 4-up invuln save just kept them going in 3 wounds, so that way some of the weaponry just had to blink through a few wounds. Pretty impressive there. So my turn 1, that was the big thing that happened, because everything else, he hit my warriors some. That was about it, and then I reanimated them and actually got them closer to the objective because of that. So my turn 1, moved my warriors up. It was an interesting game because a lot of it wasn't trying to actually destroy the Imperial Knights. It was just get on objectives and stay there, and that was the key. So that's what I did. Turn 1, moved up warriors, got on objective as fast as possible. Lich Guard actually at the end of his turn Veil of Darkness onto an objective out in no man's land. And then I also then moved my Transcendent Catan because he was just far off from his home objective, because he had touched it with one of his Imperial Knights that would then gain it if they had touched it and it just stayed in their possession until something else got it. I transported over there with the Transcendent Catan and took it. Had that for 2 turns, because he couldn't quite wipe me out the next turn on shooting. So that all happened. My Locust Heavy Destroyers moved out and took 2 shots at an Armiger. If they would have hit, they would have insta-killed it. They did hit, and then he had a 5-up invuln save and saved them both. Very frustrating, very concerning. That's not a good sign. When you have a 33% chance of making success and you succeed on both of those, and so 6 damage is gone twice, ugh, that's nasty. Yeah, so that happened. His next turn, there was lots and lots of shooting into my Transcendent Catan, and he survived with, I believe, 1 wound remaining. Pretty insane. My Locust Heavy Destroyers went down, because I believe that was when he teleported in with his big guy, Imperial Knight with the big fist thing. He was going to charge my stuff. But the one exception to it, too, was the building that I was in. Because of Imperial Knight's size, he had to go around quite a bit to even get to them. So his charge just doesn't work very well. Yeah, it was bizarre. He tried to fire into my warriors, and he realized real fast that, yeah, he could fire into them, but I was going to heal them back up. He did take a shot with his sniper guy, and I think he only did like 1 or 2 wounds with him on the d6 of damage. And it was, I mean, it was just really sad, because he got through my armor and stuff. Yeah, but it didn't do very much. Transcendent Catan, okay, here's the thing. Transcendent Catan, he didn't do a whole lot, except for the fact he was just scoring points and surviving, and that was all he needed to do, and he did it well, period. I mean, that worked. So, on my turn, I fired, no, he charged me with his Armiger with the melee into my Necron warriors, and I didn't have Orc and the Diviner close enough that turn, but I knew that I would. He didn't get, but I think he didn't kill anything, actually. It all survived somehow. It was crazy. It shouldn't have. And it just, the 4-up Feeling of Pains and the 4-up invuln save just completely mitigated everything. It was insanity. My rolls were pretty fire on some of the saves. Lichguard he never fired on very much either. So my next turn, Lichguard stayed put on the objective. Necron Warriors stayed put on the objective, except to consolidate. Was it pile in? I think it's pile in. Yeah, pile in onto the Armiger and melee, because they got like 1 or 2 hits in on him. And Orc and the Diviner was the one, he went crazy, and the stars are right on turn 2 and knocked the Armiger out. And Monolith lands in his deployment zone and it destroys an Armiger. I targeted the Armiger primarily, and with 1 like Death Ray onto his Imperial Knight just to try. Didn't do anything to the Imperial Knight. The Armiger went down that I tried earlier to destroy with my Locust Heavies, and he succeeded off both of those, but this time I got him. The sustained hits D3s on the Death Rays are insane. Absolutely insane. Yeah, so that was cool. And, I kind of expected Monolith to not survive, but at least just harass. And then we would see. So Armiger went down, melee Armiger went down. I was like, okay, got some stuff going on. Turn 3, Transcendent Catan goes down. Imotech the Stormlord goes down for me with this big guy in my back row. And I can't remember if my Locust Destroyer was still there or not. He was somewhere nearby. But somehow he made it to be able to do a secondary on the edges of the scanning the sides of the map. And then he got absolutely wrecked, which I figured he would, but he got some victory points there. So can't remember if he died in round 3 or not. But yeah, Transcendent Catan went down, and it was fine. I didn't care. He did his job. Lichguard just never even hardly got touched. my opponent realized just how defensive they were, and it was like, nah, don't even waste your time. Started firing up my monolith as well, and got me down, I think, to 10 wounds. 10 of my 10, 10 of my 20. So on my turn 3, I particle whipped with the monolith his little sniper guy, killed that guy, which was good, and then death rays his Imperial Knight and actually took it down pretty significantly, over like half of its wounds. It's like, okay, I might actually be able to kill an Imperial Knight before I go down. And by that point, my Lich Guard actually charged his other Armiger and stayed on the objective enough and started plinking on him some damage, because I was using swords and boards. And I think when we hit turn... Yes, that would have had to have been turn 4? Was that turn 3? I don't know. Yeah, so no, turn 2 I landed with my monolith. Turn 3 I did the things to the Imperial Knight. Turn 4, he fires at my monolith further, and I save pretty well actually, and I'm still, like, because I healed up just a little bit from reanimation protocols. He didn't get me down to, I think, but maybe 11 wounds on it, which I was really shocked the monolith was hanging in that well. And yeah, I had some pretty decent saves there. It was weird, the things that happened there, and I was scoring really well. In turn 4, on my turn, I took down his Imperial Knight, if memory serves. That was over by my monolith. And then took that objective technically. No, I didn't. I was going to, because that would have been like turn 4, turn 5. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting the turns confused, but when we called it a turn 5, in essence, no, I did take down his Imperial Knight in turn 4. I was wanting him in turn 5 to try to target my monolith, because I actually was able to take down the Imperial Knight, because a lot of his weapons were more anti-infantry, and so they weren't actually able to answer very well the monolith. He had some that were really heavy damage, but then some that just didn't really do it, and the ones that were heavy damage I did manage to either take one of them instead of 2 and shrug off the other, and then, or nothing went through. It was kind of crazy. His rolls kind of went sour on him at the end. But overall, Necrons just so survivable. I finally got some Canoptic Reanimators to try out, but against Imperial Knights probably wouldn't be a good thing, because they'd just get plinked away off of the sides. Overall, just Necrons play objectives so well, and the reanimation and just blobbing around an objective marker is just so ridiculous. So yeah, that's kind of what I saw and experienced. Necrons are just a whole different game in a way, because of just what they do, and if you build them right, they're just going to keep coming back for more. And it's like, yeah, you put that guy down, but he's back, and so is his 3 friends from last turn. So, meh. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below what you think about Necrons and Imperial Knights. I think there's a case to be made definitely for Imperial Knights having still a bit too much based on their rankings. But I managed to win that one by points just by being survivable, but I'm also a very different army compared to a lot of other things. So I think Imperial Knights against like Custodes even would be just fine with their weapons, because in essence, they're kind of designed to take down medium to low end, at least the weapons that I was going up against, infantry, and even Custodes stuff, because some of their stuff was still high end or middle range weapons that would be almost anti-vehicle, which against Custodes, that's what you need. Anyway, let me know down in the comments below what you think about Necrons, Imperial Knights, where they stand in right now, and what you would do in a build. Take care. Bye, y'all.